Hello, friends, and welcome. Picture this. You're sitting in a cozy library, surrounded by shelves filled with wisdom from centuries past. Today, I want to invite you into a world where your mind becomes your sharpest tool. A world revealed by Rolf Dobelli in his best-selling book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. This isn't just another self-help book. Dobelli distills decades of behavioral science into more than 90 cognitive biases that quietly warp our decisions every single day. From the desire to follow the crowd, to our tendency to cling to ideas that comfort us, to the illusions that make us believe we're in control when we're not. This book is a mirror, showing us where we stumble so we might walk a little straighter. But don't worry, you won't need to memorize all 90 biases today. Instead, I'll walk you through 5 of the most powerful lessons from this book. 5 patterns of thinking that, once recognized, can transform the way you make choices, big and small. As we explore each one, I'll share stories, quotes, and practical strategies you can use right now. Ready? Let's begin. Let's start with a bias you've definitely encountered, even if you didn't have a name for it. The herd effect. Humans are social animals, and for most of our history, following the crowd was a survival strategy. If everyone ran from a rustling bush, there was probably a good reason. But in modern life, this instinct often leads us astray. Think of economic bubbles. Everyone's rushing to buy stocks or real estate simply because everyone else is doing it. Or that packed restaurant you see on a Friday night. Is it really the best food, or are people just following the herd? Dobelli writes, "If 50 million people say something foolish, it is still foolish." The wisdom here is simple, but not easy. When everyone is running in one direction, that's the moment to pause. Maybe, just maybe, the opposite is the wiser path. The next time you're tempted to jump on a trend, ask yourself, am I thinking for myself or just following? Now let's talk about a pair of biases that love to team up. Confirmation bias and anchoring. Confirmation bias is our natural tendency to seek out information that supports what we already believe and to ignore anything that challenges us. We all do it. If you're convinced that your favorite tech company is the best, you'll notice every positive headline and conveniently overlook the negative ones. Anchoring, meanwhile, happens when the first piece of information we see, the first price, the first offer, the first impression, sets the tone for everything that follows. Imagine you're shopping for a jacket. The first one you see costs $400. Suddenly, the $200 jacket feels like a bargain, even if it's still overpriced. Dobelli warns, never underestimate the power of the first number. And here's the lesson. Actively seek out evidence that challenges your beliefs. If you're debating a decision, ask, what could prove me wrong? And when you're negotiating or shopping, remind yourself that the first offer is just an anchor. Don't let it dictate your judgment. Next up, the illusion of control. We love the feeling that we're in the driver's seat, steering our fate. But often, we mistake luck for skill. Take the stock market. You pick a few winners, and suddenly, you feel like Warren Buffett. Or you ace a test after a night of cramming and think you've discovered the perfect study method. But as Dobelli points out, control is an illusion. Randomness is reality. The world is full of chance. Accepting this doesn't mean you give up. It means you focus on managing risk, not chasing certainty. Instead of asking, how can I win every time? Ask, how can I avoid catastrophic losses? Place your bets carefully, knowing that sometimes the dice just won't roll your way. Let's turn to one of the most seductive traps, survivorship bias. The world loves a success story. We idolize the entrepreneurs who built empires, the athletes who broke records, the artists who found fame. But for every Steve Jobs, there are thousands of equally talented people whose ventures quietly vanished. Dobelli reminds us, behind every triumph are countless tragedies we never hear about. If you only study winners, you'll get a distorted picture of reality. True wisdom comes from learning not just from the survivors, but from the fallen. The next time you read a story about a billionaire's morning routine, remember, you're seeing only what survived the filter of failure. Ask, what about those who did everything right, but didn't make it? Seek lessons in defeat as well as in victory. Finally, we arrive at a bias that trips up even the brightest minds. Fast thinking, or as Dobelli calls for instead, slow thinking. In moments of stress or excitement, we react quickly, sometimes too quickly. Think of the angry email sent in the heat of the moment, the hasty investment on a hot tip, or the impulse to sign a contract without reading the fine print. Dobelli's advice is beautifully simple. Pause. One deep breath can save you from a world of regret. Before you act, especially when emotions are high, step back. Give yourself space to think. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman calls this System 2 thinking. Deliberate, careful, and wise. So, what's the big picture? The art of thinking clearly isn't about making you a genius overnight. It's about helping you avoid the pitfalls that trip up even the smartest among us. As Dobelli jokes, being less wrong is a pretty good start. And in a world full of noise and confusion, that's a huge advantage. If this taste of Dobelli's wisdom speaks to you, I encourage you. Pick up the book, explore the other biases, and start spotting them in your life. The more you notice these mental traps, the more clearly you'll think. Thank you for joining me today. If you found these insights helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more thoughtful book reviews and big ideas. And remember, sometimes the smartest move is simply to pause and think a little more clearly. See you next time.